Before I said that strategical planning is the basis for tactical execution. Black just captured a pawn on h2, which opened up the h-file for white. During this video lesson, we're going to focus mainly on tactics. For the moment, black is helpless on the king side, and white exploits this. Key point: attack your opponent's weak pawns to force his pieces into defensive positions. Look at the board as a mate in 2 moves. Checkmate. Notice how white's pieces are strategically placed. In this example, black does not try to save the bishop and instead attacks the knight on g5. The queen move to f3 is a multi-purpose move. First, it pins the c6 pawn to the rook. Second, it prepares the e4 pawn push. And lastly, it x-rays the f7 pawn. Placing your pieces on squares from which they can restrict the mobility of your opponent's pieces is an important concept in chess. White's attack is so strong that he's not concerned about saving the knight on c3, but is willing to sacrifice it in order to keep the momentum going. Rather than check the king, the queen goes to h6 in order to restrict the king's access to the 7th rank. Look at the board, it's a mate in 2. In this line, black will try to attack both sides of the board. However, white will thwart black's attack on the queen side and then continue with his attack on the king side. The knight will retreat to d7 with the idea of playing c6 to c5, which will in turn open up the bishop's range along the a8 to h1 diagonal. White's king is placed on e2 prepare for a rook slide over to g1. White makes an exchange sacrifice by capturing the bishop on h4. King h7 loses to a discovered check by rook to g4. In this line, White will play knight e4 and bishop d2, followed by a queenside castle. Because of the violent wrench of the position, the black queen is overloaded with the defensive task of defending the king on g8. Queen h8, checkmate. This is a test. Now I am going to test your board vision. After white advances the pawn to e4, black will counterpunch by c6 to c5. What does the c5 pawn advance do for black? Answer: it opens up the bishop's range along the a8 to h1 diagonal. The bishop on d3 is dangerous for black. Therefore, he plans to play bishop a6 followed by b5 to b4. What should white do to stop black's plan? How many pawns is white attacking, and what does this cause black to do? Answer: it forces black's pieces into a defensive position. The knight is the only piece defending the d5 pawn. What can white do to exploit the weak d pawn? Having two bishops can prove to be a valuable asset in the endgame. Key point: create threats on both sides of the board. Although white came out on the short end of the exchange sacrifice, yet he's going to try and create passed pawns with the aid of the bishop on d3. Black's knight is very strong and active, so it is white's plan to trade off black's good piece, and you will use the other knight to attack the A and C pawns. Not only does attacking your opponent's weak pawns forces its pieces into passive positions, but creating your own passed pawns and pushing them will do the same thing. If white's pawn reaches a3, it'll be 2 squares away from promotion. In a position such as this one, it is very important for white to get his king close to the action. The value of white's pawns increases as they continue to march up the board. The 2 circles that you see here are evaluation markers. This is white's only winning chance. If you haven't seen parts 1 and 2 of the Semi-Slav Defense Dismantled, the links to those videos are in the description. Right now you're watching part 3 of the Semi-Slav Defense Dismantled. Stay tuned for part 4. That's coming up next. Thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe so that you can be notified.